Okay, restart, reset, Elisha, cut this part out.
Oh, can I cough too?
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Go on.
I'm just going to cut out the last minute.
Yeah, that's okay.
Hi, and welcome to the Home of Champions podcast. I am Elisha Tadarera, and I am your host for today. Thank you for joining me. I'm so excited that you are here. This is our first ever episode, our pilot episode. It's crazy. I can't wait to see where this goes. Across this season, we will be bringing in some amazing people from a wide variety of backgrounds to share their journey and their experiences through the art of storytelling in the hopes of inspiring and empowering you to be courageous, to step out on your dreams, and to build a meaningful and purposeful life. Today, I invite a special friend onto this show, Nathan Benjamin, as our very first guest ever. So sit back, be prepared for some laughs and a lot of mistakes. Thank you for coming along on this journey today.
No, don't stop, Elisha. Continue.
Can it hear me from over here?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I'm not sure about.
But I can hear you, so I'll repeat. Elisha is fumbling for words.
As normal.
As normal. Elisha enters the room holding 2 cups of tea. One in a mug. In a cat mug. I thought it was Batman. It looked like a Batman mug.
So this one is for you
Thank you.
because of the writing on the cup.
Okay. I love my dad very, 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 very much. Way to hit it on a soft point straight away. Jesus.
I bought it on Father's Day for my dad, and
Yep.
somehow I'm the one that ended up with it. Okay.
We love you, Elisha, Dad. Elisha did nod. Just if you're listening to this, he does love you.
I love my dad very, 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 very much.
And one upside down very. One spelled backwards.
All right.
Alright, let's get this show on the road. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
First episode. Couldn't find anyone better. Alright, this is great.
So, to be honest,
Clearly I had a free schedule.
I contacted 10 other people and they weren't available. So,
Knew it. Knew I'd be lucky legs 11.
well, thank you for coming on the show.
No, thank you for having me. It's an honour and a pleasure to be a part of this. It's been a long time coming and there's a lot of anticipation. Millions of fans out there.
Oh, you know it.
Yeah, and then you have some as well.
Well, I am excited. It is so cool.
It is awesome.
You are a very creative person. You're a brilliant mind. I've known you for a few years. But how about, can you give us a background of who Nathan Benjamin is?
Right. Well, that's a pretty broad question because I'm currently on the journey of figuring that out for myself. But currently I work in the disability industry as my main source of employment, dealing with majority mental health within the Bundaberg region. I also moonlight as a photographer, working at nightclubs and events predominantly, and that in its own right shares some very interesting stories weekend to weekend. So yeah, like Elisha says, I pride myself on being creative in everything I do, whether it's creative ways of supporting people with disabilities or expressing my creativity through my art form, which is photography. It's been an interesting ride, and a lot has changed over the last sort of 3 to 4 years, and I'm hoping that we're just getting the snowball rolling.
Just getting started.
It's going to be an interesting ride. Retirement by 30. That's the goal.
It's possible.
Sit back and
It's possible.
kick my feet up,
What?
look back and, turn into a consultant where I do nothing and just get paid for it.
While you're sipping a margarita on a beach somewhere.
Exactly. Or a very hot tea Elisha's made me.
How do you like the tea?
I do love it. Yeah, it does have a different taste to bushels.
Yeah.
But you want to give the podcast audience a bit of a background on this tea. Where is it from?
Yeah, so
Share it.
this tea is from Zimbabwe, which, if anyone out there doesn't know, Zimbabwe is a country in Africa. And when I went to Zimbabwe in 2019, I love tea. So as I was leaving, I just bought bags and bags, packets of tea. So I probably got like a couple thousand tea bags.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's not like some creative flavor or blend. It's your very basic black tea.
Yep.
But it's from the homeland.
Absolutely. That's amazing. And is Africa known for its tea production? Like, is that like a hidden gem? Like, certain regions of the world are known for coffee, like Ethiopia and all of that are known for their flavour of coffee. Is Africa and tea,
So to be honest, I'm not sure, but from what I've experienced and from like my family history, I would say yes.
Mm-hmm.
So my dad and his side of the family are very big drinkers, and they're all tea drinkers. And
There's no judgment here. I'm kind of a little bit disappointed. It's 8:30 and I don't have beer. What sort of podcast is this? On Joe Rogan's, I would have been getting drunk by now.
I'm sure you have some really interesting stories through the different things that you've been involved in, and working at event centers, event venues, and doing photography. But on that note, with venues, have you seen that social experiment where this guy, I think he's wearing a high-vis shirt, and he carries a ladder, and he just tries to get into all these crazy places, like hotels, other places, like the back of restaurants, places like that. And they just let him through because he's holding a ladder and he looks like he's got somewhere to be.
Yep.
If you were that guy, where would you try to get into?
Oh, jeez. What pops in my head straight away is we're in Sydney, it's Mardi Gras time. Okay? The streets are packed with everyone in their tinsel to tiaras. And the floats are coming through, and I identify the biggest float. And I walk out with my ladder and say that I'm with the health and safety officer. And I climb aboard that float with my ladder, climb to the very top of it, rip my pants off and start dancing at the top of my ladder. That is what I would do.
That is a very bright picture right there.
Exposing my green and gold glitter thong and shaking it. That's...
Hey, you only live once, don't
exactly. And I'm pretty sure I'd die because, fresh meat.
Okay.
You've got to take advantage of the small moments where, when doing these social experiments, you've got to try something that hasn't been done before. And I haven't seen anyone climb to the top of a Mardi Gras float
Exactly.
in a high vis and...
To shock people.
Exactly.
See what their reaction is.
Yeah.
So one of the things that... Still trying to get that mental image out of my head.
Lasha's thinking about joining me.
When I'm 70 years old,
70 years old. Hold that to him. We'll be on podcast episode 7 million and we'll refer back to the first one.
So we've had a couple adventures together. We had the trip to Adelaide, where we flew to Adelaide, bought a car, and then drove it through the middle of Australia.
I'd like to say we didn't buy a car. Let's just make that very clear.
I bought a car.
Start that again, Elisha.
Yes. Sorry.
Go.
Thank you. I want to rephrase everything.
Don't actually start again. I'm just saying we did not make this poor decision.
I bought a high interest loan car.
From the other side of Australia.
From the other side of Australia. And let's start this again because I actually want this in there.
Yeah, this would be good.
So we've had a couple adventures together.
Mm-hmm.
So one of our last ones was flying to Adelaide from Brisbane, and I bought a car. And you came along with me, and another mate of ours as well. So we flew to Adelaide, bought this car, and then drove it through the middle of Australia.
Yeah.
Oh gosh,
You
that
need
was
to put the time frame on this too.
the time frame.
The time frame of you deciding on this car was approximately 24 hours before driving down. Like, it wasn't much notice for it.
Yeah.
So similar to this podcast, you just took whoever was available.
I think I just messaged you. I was like, "Hey, do you want to go to Adelaide?"
Exactly. I had known Elisha for I'd only met you 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
I really didn't know you. It was more just who has a license.
You were
Because we were both on red peas or something.
good behavior, I think. As
Yeah,
well.
we were both on good behavior.
No, I think I messaged you, someone else as well. I was like, "Hey, do you want to go to Adelaide? I need to pick up a car." What happened next?
The following day, your dad picked us up from all of our houses at
That's
3:30
right.
a.m.
Yeah.
and he drove down to Brisbane just under the speed limit from memory. We had a meeting in the sunny coast.
So yeah. Well, I don't even remember that. You've got a good memory.
I do have a good memory. And then rushing to Brisbane to catch a flight.
That's right. Yeah, actually, we were almost late, weren't we?
Yeah, and then you reread the ticket because it was.
What was on the ticket?
Our flight was at 1 o'clock, and so it said 1300, and you read it as 12.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we were getting rushing there, your dad threw us out, and he's like, "We got to catch this plane." And then we were an hour and a half early.
Sounds
and then it
right.
got delayed.
Oh, that's right.
It got delayed
Yes.
as well.
And we missed so when we actually got on the plane, we flew to Adelaide just to purchase this car,
And then
we
drove
get
straight back.
we get to the dealership.
Yeah.
And they were closed by 5 minutes, and I even called ahead saying it would be a bit late, and they didn't stay open.
Yeah.
We got there was no one there.
Yeah.
It's great customer service, guys.
Yeah. And then we stayed in a very expensive hotel that was only expensive because we walked in off the street.
Exactly. Spontaneous adventures. What else would you want?
Yeah, and then so the following day you bought the car.
Yeah.
At what interest rate? Just remind us.
Yeah, let's not talk about that. But yeah, very high interest rate.
Very high interest rate.
Very poor business decision.
Yep.
And something
But
that
it's
I've learned from.
because it was the car you didn't even know.
It wasn't even the right car. They had the car listed on the website, listed on car sales as this SUV with a sunroof and everything, this completely different model car. And we get to the car yard in the morning, and it wasn't even the same model. They had listed the wrong model car. It was a hatchback, and it was valued a bit less than the actual car that I was going down for. Because half the reason I was flying down was because of the massive price difference between what the car was valued at and what I was buying it at.
Yep.
So, in other words, I was ripped off.
Yeah.
But we only found this out. We only it only clicked after a few hours into driving.
Yep.
Yeah.
We were 2 Red Bulls in, and then
It was is this the right car?
exactly. Yeah, and then hightailing it back to Bundaberg because we all had work the next day. So we drove 24 hours straight back to Bundaberg.
From Adelaide to Bundaberg through the middle of Australia in about 24 to 26 hours.
Yeah. 2,500 Ks or something.
Oh,
It was a lot of driving.
it was a long drive.
The only time we stopped was for fuel, and that was it, basically.
Yes, that's right. And in the middle of the night in minus a few degrees temperature to have a bit of a stretch.
Then Tristan would always drive with the windows down, which was freezing.
Yes.
Freezing cold.
Oh, good times.
Especially through central New South Wales there.
No, that was fun. And I mean, at the end of the day, I worked out something with the dealership where they compensated me for it being the wrong car.
Yeah.
So I'm someone that always likes to think big, dream big. Sometimes that's a problem.
Yes.
Because you can dream big and then either not actually get anything done or not always have the tools to turn that big dream into practical steps or practical goals and actually get going on something. So do you think it's important to dream big?
I've shied away from big dreams, just because well, at least for myself, I spend too much time thinking of the big dream, and it's often materialistic,
Yeah.
and it doesn't align with what I actually want.
Yeah.
Like we could all say, I love a big house, but I don't clean the house I live in now. Like, and having excess rooms and couches and stuff. I haven't experienced it, but I imagine I would feel quite lonely within it. So those sort of materialistic goals don't really align with my values. So I heard of a life model called The Journey, and the journey is to have small micro goals along your life, but looking, instead of being focused on this one goal, you then have multiple goals and you keep your peripheral vision wide open for the next thing.
Okay.
And so throughout your life, you may, pursue one thing for a long time and then divert off and do something else. And even in my how old am I now? 23 years. It's given me control and makes me feel like I'm achieving things, even if they are only small things.
Yeah.
And that perpetual movement forward is what's hopefully gonna.
That's very similar to where I'm at the moment. I still dream big. I'm a big dreamer. You can catch me daydreaming anywhere, any day. But I've realized that what's most important for me is what I'm doing now in the present and just focusing on doing things little by little to build whatever big picture I'm working towards.
Yep.
And I know Bill Gates has said most people overestimate what they can do in 1 year and underestimate what they can do in 10 years.
Yeah. Currently, I would love to live in just like a studio apartment. Like that is, I'm really...
A loft in New York. That's what I want.
Look, not even that, because they're expensive.
Yeah.
Man, my real estate agent Shane, he can not convince me to buy that.
And he can convince anyone to buy anything.
Exactly, because he's a good man.
Yes.
But no, so even in... Could you live in a caravan? And where would you park the caravan? You could park it anywhere, on the side of the road, anywhere. Where would you park your caravan?
Could I live in a caravan, first of all? That's an interesting question.
That's sort of confined, claustrophobic.
If I needed to, for a time, I would, but it wouldn't be my ideal living situation. Where would I park it? I'd park it. Actually, I could do it, and I'd park it near the beach. Yeah.
Any particular beach?
Noosa.
Noosa Beach.
Noosa Heads. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just park it. Go out for a surf in the morning. Have some chairs
with your beach blonde hair.
Oh, I'll do blonde tips.
Oh yes.
Blonde tips on this.
We got to make this happen. Anyone got some land at Noosa Heads? We can park Elisha's caravan.
Has anyone got a caravan?
Oh, we'll sort the caravan out. I just want to see the blonde tips. I'm prepared to finance this.
Hey, anything's possible.
That's true.
These are going to be bloopers, okay? Audio bloopers. Is that a thing?
Yeah, it's great. As long as you put in the bloopers, my part about standing on the top of a ladder. with
Fresh
my green,
meat.
with my green.
Okay. So, thankfully, this isn't live. I've got somewhere I want to go. I'm just trying to think of how to get there.
This is honestly great, Elisha. We didn't even need alcohol to make a fool of ourselves.
Not at all. It must be the tea. There's something in the tea.
Exactly.
Maybe there weren't tea leaves.
I hope not. I've got a big day at work.
Hey everyone, if you're still listening, thank you. Nathan had to leave, but I would like to give this a bit of a wrap up and give you a bit of vision for where I would love to see this podcast go. So first of all, I have learnt my lesson when it comes to making important decisions and especially doing my due diligence on any financial purchases. But on the trip to Adelaide, I also learnt the weird ways that you can build friendships and that it's important to have spontaneous adventures in life. And Nathan Benjamin, he's been a great friend of mine. I am so grateful that he said yes to being part of this first episode and helping me put this together. He has been a massive inspiration and source of motivation for me in my life. I remember a few years ago when I was studying my business diploma, I was near the end of it. I had an assessment left to do, and I just had so much going on, and I was behind on my study, I was behind on my reading, and I just didn't feel like I was going to be able to get it done and pass. And Nathan Benjamin was the person who came alongside me, and he just challenged me and pushed me and helped me get over myself and just get it done. And I did it. I finished it and passed. So I'm just really grateful that he's been a part of this and that he came on. So we touched on dreaming big. And for me, it's been really... the lesson that I've learned at the moment is to focus on small steps towards my big dream. And this podcast here today, this is part of that big dream. This is one of those small steps, releasing this episode towards a big dream that I have of inspiring and helping others. And there are 3 things that I would love to see this podcast do for you. 1 is inspire. I would love this podcast to inspire you to dream big, to take a step out towards whatever it is you want to work on. Or just inspire you to get up out of bed in the morning and be excited about the day and your life. The second thing is empower. I would love to see this podcast help empower you, give you the practical tools, tips, strategies, methods on whatever it is that you're wanting to do or see in your life. And the third thing is community. As this podcast grows, the Home of Champions organization and community will be growing as well. And our goal is to create spaces and places for you to be championed and for you to help champion others. So we'll be growing on social media, in-person meetups, and so many other places, and creating areas where you can connect with other like-minded people and also potentially connect with mentors or other leaders and people that can help push you and help you get where you want to be. So thank you for coming along on this journey. And I promise you the next episode won't have as much coughing and coffee cup noises hitting the table, and there will be better audio level. But thank you for being here today.